Come on. Audio check, 1, 2, 3, audio check. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Motive Racing YouTube channel for tonight's action here on Project Cars 2 for round 2 of the Clio Cup. We're here at Oulton Park on the Island circuit for tonight. For what should be a great night here, hopefully, as we're just coming through the final few corners. It's going to be Thoris Steer to get us underway, our pole sitter for tonight, obviously due to the reverse grid format that we have on Project Cars 2 here at Motive for the first race of every night. So we've got 9 drivers on the track right now. We're hoping that we're going to have at least a couple more in for the next 2 races for tonight. A couple of drivers running late here tonight, so we're a little bit depleted on numbers for this first race of the night. But as we come over the line here, we're about to start the race. It's Thoris Steer getting us underway as we are green. We are racing as we in the background. What's going on there? Somebody straight into the wall. Who is that? Was that John Boy? It was John Boy and Mike. So the two main protagonists this season so far in the wall and in trouble here, which is going to bode well for Ollie Marr, who's sat in third in the standings right now. But Ollie's had a collision here. What's going on with Ollie and Cobb? They're coming together, coming in towards Cascades. Big collision there between those two. That is the Thoris Steer and Nick the Middle well clear of them. Ollie and Cobb, they're running in third and fourth places with Charlie Goff, John Boy and Mike now on the back of this pack. So Jay and Ozzy have had a collision as well. What is going on here on the first lap of the race? It has been an absolutely treacherous first lap here tonight. But Thoris Steer leading ahead of Nick Lavella. These two running very close. They're nearly 4 seconds ahead of Ollie, running in the final podium spot at the moment. You got Cobb there in 4th ahead of Charlie Goff, followed by John Boy and Mike, with Jay there running in 8th place and Ozzy at the back of the pack. But that has been probably the most disastrous start you could ever imagine. Everybody was involved in something. And well, lots of drivers with damage and the pack very much spread out at the moment. But we got GTJ in the comments there saying hello GTJ, welcome along, good to see you, buddy, as always. But big battle going on here right now in the mid pack. You got Cobb all the way down to Mike. You've got 4 drivers really in a train. In fact, really, it's actually Ollie all the way down to Mike. So it's really 5 drivers here, separated by not much at all. But there's Ollie. You can see here trying to put the gap between himself and Cobb. And in the background there, you can see Mike very wide there out of the last corner, but still on the back of this train here as we're coming down the start-finish straight. Thoris Steer and Nick Lavilla still battling out the front as we're coming down towards Cascades. Nick very wide there onto the curb as we're coming down towards this tricky section now, when you're side by side, usually somebody has to back out there, but Nick de Villa nowhere near close enough to be side by side. Coming out of Cascades, looking to the inside. He's got a little bit of a run here, but he's going to have to tuck in because Dorestier is going to cover the line off here as we're coming down towards the island hairpin. And Dorestier still just ahead of Nick de Villa at the moment as they come onto the brakes. And gets it stopped beautifully there. Does Doris, no dramas, just parking his car in all the right places at the moment. Nick de Villa can't find a way through at this point. There is Ollie running in third place ahead of Cobb. You've got Charlie Goff and Mike is making a move here on John Boy. So Mike making a move to the inside. These two are side by side coming down towards Hislops, and Mike is going to probably go later on the brakes. John Boy trying to keep it there, and John Boy is really getting his elbows out here. Has the inside for the second part of Hislops. They're still side by side, and Mike Gaming have the inside there for Knickerbrook and gets himself into P6 and gets the move completed there. A hairy moment for both of those two, inches away from the bollards, but Mike there moves through ahead of John Boy up into P6. Ollie's still running in third place ahead of Cobb. You've got Charlie, who's still got Mike and John Boy in the back of him, despite that battle between those two, probably slowing those two down. They're still right on the back of Charlie Goff at the moment as we see Ozzy Albie into the pits here at the end of what is lap 2 for him, and his race has been an absolute nightmare so far. To the leaders, we've got Nick de Villa making a move on Dorestier, coming over the start finish line. Did he get a better run coming out of Lodge Corner as Doris is still there on the outside as we're coming down towards turn 1. Nick de Villa's going to make the move for the lead here, and P1 is Nick de Villa's so far in this race. Start of lap 4, he's been on the back of Dorestier since the beginning of this race, and he now gets the job done. But whilst these two battle, it's allowing Ollie and Cobb to close the gap, and there is Ozzy Albie rejoining right in the path of the leaders. Oh, so close there with Ozzy and Cobb, and Ozzy there wide onto the grass, but they all managed to get through it unscathed there. It's Nick de Villa leading ahead of Dorestier, but Ollie and Cobb now right in play here in this battle for the lead. So it's worked out an absolute treat for those guys, as Ollie here trying to get a bit of a run coming out of the island hairpin as we head down towards Hislops. We've got Totally Zero Kato in the comments saying hi, hello. Join mate, join. You said you were going to jump in tonight. Jump in. Make sure you load up your game. Join in for the next 2 races, because if you and Smokey join for the next 2 races, we'll have 11 cars on the track. So jump in. But yeah, currently Nick de Villa out in front has now got over a second of a gap here over Dorestier. There's Ollie Marr running in third place at the moment. Oh, but I've got a contact there between Ollie and Doris, and Doris has lost it as well, and they're into the wall. Ollie's going to have huge damage on the front of the car, did not control that at all well, and in the meantime Mike moves through into third place, but Cobb running in P2. And has this been a knock-on effect here? I'm not sure. I could hear Jay exclaiming there in the voice chat, but Ollie down to 7th, Dorestier down in 8th place, and this has gone absolutely peaked on here so far tonight. I've got to say, this has been an absolute show. I have won myself. It's fun to see these cars on track, says GGJ. Oh, you drive a Clio in real life? I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. Wow, no, very nice. Yeah. What is it, like a Clio, like one of these, or? I imagine, it's a road Clio, I guess. It's not a race car. But we can see here Charlie Goff still with John Boy right on the back of him right now as he's coming up. These guys coming down towards the island hairpin. John Boy looking to the inside. Is he going to be able to make this move here? John Boy goes down the inside, late on the brakes, gets his stop beautifully there, and moves himself up into 4th place. Can now focus his attention on the final podium spot in the shape of Mike Gaming. Yeah, Tony's okay saying I'll join later, Andy. I'll see this race so far. Yeah, definitely, mate. Jump in. Make sure you jump in towards the end of this race, because we will have a 5-minute qualifying after this, which will set the grid for race 2. So yeah, jump in sort of in the next 10 minutes if you can, please. And yeah, we'll get you in for that second race. But yeah, currently this is the battle right now for the podium places. Mike, John Boy and Charlie Goff separated by about a second. GGJ says in the comments, if you know where to buy one, I'm going to buy one of those, Andy. Oh, so you haven't got one, but you're looking to buy one. As we see there, Mike, was that Mike getting wide? It was Mike getting wide out of Druids, and he's managed to hold on ahead of John Boy. John Boy looking to attack here, coming into the Lodge corner, but just a little bit too far away. Bit of a slide there from John Boy, gets ever so wide, and that will allow Charlie Goff a run here coming down the start finish straight. Is Charlie Goff going to be able to capitalise on that? I think he is, you know. Charlie Goff is going to move through up into 4th place, so John Boy's little skirmish there, costing him a position, moves down to P5. As you can see, the lapped car of Ozzy Albie in the background here, trying to get involved in this battle. I have one, just not a race variant, says GTJ. Well, I think you need to upgrade it, get some parts, go to an engineer, or go to somebody who knows what they're doing, and get it souped up, get it to race spec standard. But currently we've got Charlie Goff looking to the inside here. John Boy trying to go around the outside of Charlie into an island hairpin. Obviously John Boy lost out to Charlie down the start finish straight, but he's looking to try and get back at him here as Charlie's still got the run on the inside. John Boy though with a better exit coming out of the island hairpin, down towards his stops we come, and John Boy should be able to get this one done. I think Charlie's going to be too far back to send it coming into the chicane, so John Boy there moves straight up into 4th place and gets that done finally, but he's now lost over a second to Mike, who's running in that podium spot at the moment. Jay not too far back off of these guys, about 4 or 5 seconds behind this battle here for 4th place. As Tony Zero saying, we need GGJ racing these in real life. Definitely so. Emma says in the comments, what a night so far. Indeed it has been, Emma. It's been very, very dramatic indeed. There's been a lot of thrills and spills and chaos so far here tonight. Not what we really want to be seeing at all, if I'm honest with you. Ideally we want to be seeing a nice clean racing, but so far we've seen that in quite limited, to be fair. Nick and Cobb separated by just under a second. Is that a battle we're going to be seeing throughout the course of the second half of this first race of the night? We've got Mike there still running in 3rd place. He's got John Boy and Charlie still battling behind him. There's Jay running in P6. He's got a bit of a gap back to Onimar, who's running in 7th place all by himself there. He's a few seconds clear of Doris Steer running in 8th place, and then Aussie Albie, who is obviously an lap down, having had to get that damage fixed at the end of the first lap, which has cost him an absolute heap of time in this race. But there is Nick, there's Cobb, and Mike is just keeping the gap at around a second to John Boy. John Boy, though, I know that he goes well around this track. This is not a track that Mike goes well at. I know that for sure. Oulton Park, he just doesn't have the form around here. I don't know what it is about Mike around Oulton Park, but he just does not seem to like the track at all. So John Boy will be looking to outscore Mike tonight, I'm sure about that. Mike, your championship leader, having won all 3 races last week, although he didn't get any fastest lap points, and because John Boy managed to have a fastest lap point, the championship gap isn't actually that much. Also owing to the fact that the point system is different this season, in that you get 32 points for a win, 30 for second, 28 for third, and 26 for 4th, and so on, all the way down to 2 points for 16th. So basically the points are a little bit closer, so you don't get as much of an advantage by winning the races, but it's kind of a bit more of a, it's like a fair discrepancy all the way down the order. So yeah, DNFs hurt you more, but well, not more, but yeah, they actually hurt you less in effect, because you don't get as many points. The maximum number of points is far less per race, but you still get the 2 points for fastest lap. So essentially, yeah, the fastest lap now means more than it used to, because you get more points for fastest lap relative to what you get for the other positions, the race finishing positions, than what you used to. So yeah, the fastest lap means a little bit more now, and we saw John Boy taking a couple of them last week in the season opener at Snetterton. But currently he's trying to reel in Mike as we're coming through Cascade here for the 8th time in a race. You've got Charlie Goff and Jace, well no, Charlie Goff still on the back of him. Keep getting confused by Aussie Albie. My brain can't handle the fact that there's a car that's a lap down right behind the leaders, so I keep getting confused. But we got Tony Zero K says a YouTube racer vlog in relation to the GTJ, and maybe I should do comms first, that I can start a YouTube channel. Yeah, definitely. If you want to, well, you can't really commentate on F1 with me because you're obviously racing in the F1 League of the Championship leader, so you can't afford to lose any points in that one. But yeah, if you ever want to do comms on ACC, I know you know what you're talking about on ACC. I know you've raced on there a few times, so yeah, if you ever fancy it, definitely check it out. Smoky Devil's now in the session. That's good, because that means that we've now got 10 drivers in, and obviously with Totally Zero set to join for the second race, we should have 11 drivers on the track for the second and third races here tonight. I wonder if RJ Dale will be able to jump in before the end of tonight, maybe the Mutts Nuts as well. We've got a few reserves who I know could potentially jump in. I think we just got really unlucky with this first race. I think lots of people running late, lots of people couldn't make it last minute. Iceman couldn't race tonight either. So I think this week we've just been very unlucky. I think usually we would have considerably more drivers. It's just 9 drivers. I'll take that on an absolute nightmare of a night where every single person that could have not been here wasn't here. I think 9 drivers will take that. It's not too bad. Would have liked to have had double figures on the grid for this first race, but it is what it is, I guess. But currently still Nick and Cobb battling it out, coming into the island hairpin here for the 9th time in this first race of the night. We can see those two still well clear of Mike and John Boy. John Boy still can't make the move on Mike, but around a bit of a bogey circuit for Mike, it could be an opportunity for John Boy here to close the gap in the championship standings. You've got Charlie and Aussie Albie in the background. Jay is closing in on Charlie now, so Jay might be sniffing a top 5 finish here in this first race of the night if he can get onto the back of Charlie and get ahead of him. We got Archie saying, I could have joined tonight, but my net's been down since lunchtime. Oh no. See, this just goes to show, this proves what I've been saying all night. This is literally like the worst possible night. Everything that seems to have gone wrong has gone wrong. Smokey running late, Totally Zero running late, Pop was pulled out, Mutts Nuts doesn't want to race, Iceman's not here. Like literally just everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong. Usually we have, you know, I'd say between 12 and 15 drivers every week, sometimes 16. You know, it's very rare that we don't get double figures, but yeah, tonight's just not our night at all. But Mike's still just ahead of John Boy as we're coming down the start-finish straight, but he's far enough in front to be pretty secure as they come into turn one. But there is Nick and Cobb, or we ought to see them, isn't it? There we go. So that now pans back to them there. So Nick and Cobb coming through Cascades here for the 10th time in this race. There's Mike and John Boy still battling. John Boy still can't find a way through ahead of Mike at the moment. There's Charlie Goff still just ahead of Aussie Albie, and now they've got Jay really close on the back of them, and Jay is actually the quickest man out on track at the moment, quicker than the leaders Nick and Cobb, and lapping a lot quicker than Mike and John Boy as well. What could have been for Jay if he hadn't have had the nightmare of the early stages to this race. But Aussie Albie trying to unwrap himself here on the back of Charlie, but Aussie there lets Jay through, sees him coming, and gets well out of the way. Now Jay will be free to attack on the back of Charlie Goff here. Mike and John Boy still running close here in third and fourth places. John Boy threw a little feint to the inside coming into his stops, but can't make it happen. John Boy tagging the curve a little bit there, all over the place as he gets onto the grass, coming through Knickerbrook, and Mike just has a bit more of an advantage than he did a moment ago. And John Boy still can't really force Mike into a mistake at the moment. Here's the two leaders, Nick and Cobb, coming through Druids into the final section of the lap. Totally Zero says, where's the lobby? I've sent you an invite, so I'm going to send you another one at the end. I can't send you an invite when I'm commentating. It won't let me. Yeah, it doesn't let me send an invite when I'm actually commentating because I'm in the broadcast this week. But when we get into the lobby, I'll send you an invite, so just sit tight and I'll get you in. It doesn't show on public lobby though. I mean, it's a private lobby, so it wouldn't show on public, would it? But Mike, John Boy, there is Charlie and Jay going through your shot. And there are Nick and Cobb coming into the hairpin here. As we see a bit of a lock up there from Nick de Villa, but holding it together at the moment. It's down towards his stops we go here for the 11th time in this race. There's Mike and John Boy still running quite close in those final podium places. There are Jay and Charlie, as Jay's looking to the inside, and he might have this done here. I think Jay's going to move himself into P5. Yes, he does. He tags the curve a little bit there. That wouldn't have been what he would have wanted. Goes a bit wide, almost tagging the grass there. Through Knickerbrook we go. Has Jay got that completed, or is Charlie Goff going to have the run here coming under Warwick Bridge? I think Jay has just done enough here to get the position done. Flash the lights there from him, as he's got P5 in the bag now, barring any major catastrophes in the final couple of laps of this race. Nick de Villa and Cobb coming down towards Lodge Corner again. Is Cobb just waiting in the wings here? Is he waiting for his moment to pounce? Maybe waiting for Nick de Villa to make a mistake here? Nice pass, says Totally Zero K. Indeed it was. Cobb here is all over Nick coming down towards Old Hall Corner, but just can't make it happen at the moment. But these two have been running pretty much bumper to bumper since the beginning of or since the early stages of the race, and Cobb hasn't been able to force Nick into a mistake. Nick's just been leading. He's been consistent as anything, not showing any signs of dropping the ball here. There's Mike and John Boy running in third and fourth still. Jay and Charlie there with Aussie Albie for company. These guys well clear of Ollie with damage on his car, running in P7, but still some decent points for his troubles in P7. Thoris Steers had a nightmare here in the first race of the night, running in 8th place. He'll be hoping that he can get a better run for it in the second and third races here coming up after this. But Nick de Villa still in the lead here ahead of Cobb. Big lock up there from Nick de Villa as they came into his stops. Bit of a slide there as well coming through the second part, but still hanging in there at the moment. Cobb is trying to put every bit of pressure on him that he possibly can as we come through in towards the final sector of the lap. We're moments away from the start of the final lap here. And Cobb throwing the kitchen sink here at Nick de Villa as we come through Druids. These guys running so close together at the moment. As here we come down towards Lodge Corner once again. It's still Nick and Cobb separated by not much. as Mike has got John Boy now a little way behind him, so John Boy's dropped off of Mike by almost a second here. There is Jay running in P5 with Charlie about a second behind him. But there are Nick and Cobb starting the final lap of the race, and it's still Nick by a hair right now over Cobb as we come out of Old Hall corners. Cobb trying to get a bit of a run. Nick was a bit wide there onto the curb there. Coming out of Old Hall corner into Cascades we go. Cobb just a little bit too far away once again there. Mike and John Boy. Jay is now on the back of these guys, and Jay's been absolutely blitzing it around this circuit. I tell you what, his pace around Oulton Park Island is absolutely insane as he goes wide there, coming out of Cascades, and he's going to lose out there. Mike and John Boy are going to be well clear of him. Aussie Albie's trying to unlap himself here on Charlie Goff in the background, and I think he's going to get that one done. Aussie Albie there moving himself ahead of Charlie, although Charlie goes later on the race coming into the hairpin and manages to get back ahead of him. Goes wide though on the exit. I think Aussie's given that one up. He's backed out of that. He's thought, no, I'm not going to be a thorn in the side there. I was about to use a rude word there, but Cobb on the back of Nick de Villa as we're coming into the final sector. Can Nick de Villa hold on? He has led the race for the entirety of this first race of the night, barring the first few corners of the first lap. Cobb has been all over him, been putting the pressure on him, trying to force him into a mistake, but Nick de Villa has been giving him absolutely nothing to go on as we come out of Druids, and Nick de Villa's wide onto the grass. Does he get it back online? He might have to defend his position because Cobb has got a heck of a run here coming down towards Lodge Corner. As Nick goes to the inside, he moves around in the braking zone a little bit. Not really what you want to be seeing, but Nick is going to come out of the final corner, and it's going to be the win in the first race of the night. A great drive from him. Very, very patient from Cobb, but it didn't pay off. Unfortunately for him, he has to settle for second place. Nick de Villa, your race one winner here at Oulton Park. Cobb takes second place ahead of Mike, who holds on ahead of John Boy for the podium place. Jay over in fifth, ahead of Charlie Goff, who takes sixth place in the end after a good battle there with Aussie Albie, who was a lap down. He comes over to take ninth place in this first race of the night. Ollie will come out on the final corner, and it'll be seventh place on the road for him. So some decent points, obviously, because we're down on numbers here, so not the worst there for him. So seventh place for Ollie. Doris Deer is coming into Druids here for the final time in this first race of the night, and he'll be the last driver to finish the race as he's coming down towards Lodge Corner. So it'll be P8 here for Doris Deer, and again, just perseverance, just being here has its own rewards, because obviously he'll score some good points for finishing in 8th place despite having an absolute nightmare here in this first race. But hey, if you're currently watching, guys, smash the like button, show your appreciation for the drivers and the show they're putting on here tonight, as that is that for the first race. Nick de Villa taking the win ahead of Cobb in second, with Mike completing the podium and continuing to extend his gap in the championship to John Boy. Bonus 2 points for fastest lap goes to Jay with a 1:30.3, so he scores the extra 2 points. Well done to Jay. And yeah, guys, we'll be back on for the second race in a few moments' time. Don't go anywhere. Yeah, Tony Zero races on ACC and F1. He's alright. If anyone has a setup, is there any chance anyone will be able to send it over to him?
Mike's got a good one.
Yeah, if anyone can, because otherwise he'll have no chance otherwise, because obviously because you're all bloody fast, so yeah. Don't show off. You're rapid, Jay. Your pace was quicker than everybody. Like, Jay, you were gaining about a second a lap on like the leaders for the whole race. If you hadn't had that incident on lap 2 or whatever it was, you'd have fucking won that race, no doubt. Mate, he was doing low 130s the whole race. Low 130s, lap after lap after lap consistently.
Just remember, Paul, this is something to look forward to on Thursday.
Oh. What is that? Oh, for God's sake. Not this again. It's just, oh, just disconnections, man. Oh, it's pissing me off. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yes. I know. Good. Welcome back, everybody. We are here for the second race of the night here at Motive for round 2 of an 8-round season here for the Clio Cup. This particular race will be race 5 of a 24 race season. This is the only qualifying session of the night. Obviously the first race is a practice session which leads on to a reverse grid based on the championship standings. The third race of the night is a reverse grid based on the results from the second race, but this is the only actual race that we have where it's literally like a qualifying session that sets the grid. So it's quite unique, the second race of the night here. Story steers disconnected. Oh my god, our connection issues are really ruining the night. It's really annoying me. Totally Zero's now disconnected. Oh, for God's sake. Oh. Fuck's sake. Here we are then, guys. We're getting ready to go racing for race 2 here tonight at Moto for the Clio Cup. We've got 9 drivers on the track again because Doris Steer and Totally Zero disconnected during the practice. I don't know what to say. I just don't know what to do. First we have like 5 people can't make it. Then 2 people keep disconnecting. It's like, just for fuck's sake, I just don't know Oh, I just don't fucking know. But anyway, right, here we go then. We got Mike lining up on pole, John Boy alongside him, Cobb in third with Jay in fourth. Jay had a very quick pace in the first race, did the fastest lap of the race and was hunting down the leaders for much of it despite his early woes, so who knows what he could be getting up to here in this second race of the night. Tony Zero says, I'm back. Let's see if it stays now. If you change something, then hopefully you reset your connection. It might be right now. Here we go. Lights coming on at the head of the grid. We're about to go racing. We are underway. As it looks like a good start there from Mike. John Boy got a bit of a poor one. As in the background, Charlie Goff already trying to make a move here on Aussie Albie coming up towards Old Hall Corner as they all file through turn one. And Mike leads coming down towards Cascades. Can John Boy get a bit of a run? I think he's too far away. He's nowhere near close enough at the moment. There is Jay just behind Cobb right now. Through Cascades we go. Charlie Goff has got ahead of Aussie Albie. There's a spin in the background there. Ollie gets it wrong onto the grass a little bit. And he gets passed there by Smokey. Smokey swoops around the outside. Nick the Villa, the race winner in the first race, has got damage there down in ninth place. So he's had a bit of a nightmare of a start to this one. John Boy going very late on the brakes going into the island hairpin. But got it stopped in time and gets through, no worries there for him. As Cobb there in the background, you can see some cones going absolutely flying all over the place there as somebody went very wide coming out of the island hairpin, but down towards his spots we come for the first time in his second race. It's Mike from John Boy, Cobb there ahead of Jay, followed by Charlie Goff. You got Aussie Albie there running in 6th place, and then Ollie and Smokey here running very close in 7th and 8th places right now. Nick the Villa running in 9th place with his damage on the car, which is really going to be affecting him at this point. But here we go, Mike and John Boy coming into the final section of this first lap of the race, and it's these two just showing the way as they have done so many times throughout the Clio Cup seasons here at Motive. But Cobb here keeping him honest, keeping him on the same page. Jay we saw had good pace in the first race. Can he make the most of these guys battling in front of him and capitalise on them maybe tripping over each other? In the background there, Smokey very wide coming out of Druids, but keeping it on the road and keeping it within 5 seconds of the leaders. But here we come over the line to complete lap one. It's Mike from John Boy. Cobb still right there though, as Jay coming under some pressure here from Charlie Goff in the background as they're coming over the line to start lap two. But here they come, down towards Cascades once again. You can see in the background there, that's Jay very wide there on the curb, but holds on to it just about there. Did well to recover that, I tell you. Nick the Villa into the pits here at the end of lap one, so the race winner from the first race having an absolute nightmare here in this second one, as Cobb's got a bit of a run looking to the outside of John Boy. John Boy will have the inside line in towards the island hairpin. Can Cobb get it around the long way here? John Boy positioning his car beautifully and keeping himself there for the time being. Cobb a bit wide. Can Jake maybe get a run here coming down towards his stops? John Boy's got looking to the outside here on John Boy. Mike looking to the outside of John Boy coming in towards his stops. Now goes for a cut back looking to the inside. He's got 7 on the inside into his stops, and Mike sees him coming, gives him the space. Mike's still there. John Boy will have the inside of Nick, but he's on the grass there as John Boy still gets it done whilst riding onto the grass there. John Boy, a great move. Mike though gets a better run coming out of Knickerbrook as through into this final section of the lap we go once again here on lap 2, and they're side by side. Mike just squeezing through ahead of John Boy by the skin of his teeth there. Those two so close to a collision, but doing a great job there of staying out of each other's way, not crashing into each other, whilst also racing hard but fair. But Mike leads the race ahead of John Boy once again. Cobb, Jay and Charlie right there in the background ahead. You got Aussie ahead of Ollie running in the background there in 6th and 7th places. As here we come out of Lodge Corner, about to complete lap 2 of the race. There's Charlie getting ever so wide there coming out of the final corner, and that would have just lost him a little bit of momentum here as we come over the line here to start lap 3 of the race. John Boy looking to the inside into turn 1 there on Mike, but nothing doing at the moment as Mike there very wide and Jay also quite wide. In fact, Charlie was also wide as well there, so they're all going wide coming out of turn 1. Very much so, but Ollie's got a bit of a run looking to the outside here of Aussie Albie coming into Cascades. Aussie's going to hug the inside and going to keep ahead of him for the time being there. But Mike here ahead of John Boy as Jay's lost out to Charlie Goff. Charlie's got around the outside of him coming into the island hairpin, but Jay's going to look back to the inside coming into the hairpin. He goes late on the brakes. You can see a bit of a lock up there from Jay, but he's back up the inside into 4th place there as those two continue to fight it out. But Cobb and Mike are going to be side by side. Cobb's got the move done here on Mike as they're coming down towards his stops. as John Boy needed to stay with these guys, and Cole goes a bit deep, and Mike will get the cut back here, and in fact Jay might get both of them here because Jay's looking to try and swoop around the outside, and Jay pulling off a great manoeuvre there, but can he keep the momentum here around the outside of Mike? I think Mike's got a slightly better run here than Jay as they come under the bridge. John Boy is checked out the front. He's now got nearly a 2-second gap over these two whilst they fight each other, but Mike on the inside there of Jay as they come into Druids goes a little bit deep, and Jay might be able to go for a cutback. No, he can't. Mike gets it turned in and stays ahead of him just about there. In the background, Ollie getting ever so wide there onto the grass, but Ozzy and Ollie not dropping off too much of these guys here, battling over the podium places. Mike's still ahead of Jay, Cobb just behind these guys, Mike wide, also Jay wide. They're all going wide out of Lodge Corner. It's a general trend here from everybody tonight. Everybody's running the track limits a little bit aggressively tonight, but there they all are coming through turn 1. And Ollie down the inside of Ozzy Alvey, making the move up into P6 there, coming out of Old Hall Corner. Oh, it's Cobb wide there, coming out of Cascades onto the grass, and loses out there. Charlie Goff up into 4th place. Ollie and Ozzy just a little bit too far back. I think, no, in fact, Ollie's got the move done there on Cobb, and he had to swerve there to avoid him. Into the Island Hairpin they go. Managed to get ahead of him way before the braking zone, thank goodness. So no dangers there, but Ollie up into P5. Cobb there dropping 3 places with that little skirmish. John Boy still leading by just under 2 seconds ahead of Mike. Jay on the back of Mike here. You can see these two battling over P2. They managed to gap Charlie off by nearly a second there, running in 4th place. There's Ollie, Cobb and Ozzy that we were talking about before. Ozzy trying to size up Cobb here for P6 as Cobb maybe just lacking a bit of confidence now after that moment that we saw coming out of Cascades here at the beginning of this lap. But John Boy's still your race leader. Mike coming under pressure here from Jay as we're coming down towards Lodge Corner. But Jay, for the time being, not really close enough. It's Charlie there, quite wide out of the last corner. Ollie there, still running in P5. Has got Cobb and Ozzy right on him still. As these guys coming over the line here to start lap 5 of the race. You can see there Ollie is well ahead of Cobb and Ozzy coming into the corner. There's Smokey running in the background there in 8th place, not having the race here in this second race of the night at all. His first race of the night, because he wasn't here for the first race. So this is his first race of the night here at Oulton Park Island. Mike coming under increasing pressure here from Jay around a track that I know Mike isn't the biggest fan of. Tends to struggle at Oulton Park over the seasons, we've seen here before. Jay really trying to impose himself in the mirrors of our 3-time Clio Cup champion right now. Our former champion of the Clio Cup, John Boy, is well clear. Runner-up in the last 2 seasons in the championship to this man here. And here is our former runner-up to John Boy, Jay. So all these 3 with credentials. But Jay never a champion of the Clio Cup. Champion of the touring cars since season 10. But never a champion in the Clios. As I said before, runner-up in season 10. That was I'd say Jay's best season at Motive. Definitely season 10. He managed to win the touring car championship, and he was second in the Clio Cup that season. He really did have an absolute barnstormer. And it was interesting in that season actually, because it was John Boy who was the champion of the Clio Cup, and he came runner-up in the touring car. So both of those two shared the top 2 positions in both championships. But Mike there just ahead of Jay as we're coming over the line to start lap 6 of the race. But these two dropping off of John Boy more and more as this race goes on. There's Charlie running just ahead of Cobb. There's Ollie and Ozzy. And then a bit of a gap back to Smokey running 8th place. Nick Livella with the damage at the start, running way behind in 9th place here in this one. That's Mike there a bit wide out onto the grass there, coming out of Cascades. As Ollie looking to the outside of Cobb coming into the Island Hairpin. Can he get a bit of a run here coming down towards Hislop? As you can see, he's in that slipstream. Can he pick up a bit of speed here? Is he going to look to the inside? I think Cobb's just far enough ahead at the moment to... always Ollie gives a bit of a tap in the rear there. I tell you what, that was a bit of a shove there from Ollie. But Cobb survives at the moment. John Boy's still leading, but Mike and Jay are actually bringing the gap down to John Boy. Mike was 3/10 quicker than John Boy in the previous lap. Jay just being dragged along with him, but in fact Mike has actually gapped Jay a little bit over the course of this lap. gap just over a second between those two. Mike, I think the quickest man out on track at the moment, in second place. The camera's really bad tonight. Every time I click on a driver, it's taking forever for the race director to catch up to who I'm clicking on. I think the camera direction in general at Oulton Park isn't the best. Ollie Moore looking to the outside of Cobb coming into Old Hall corner, but Cobb staying ahead. In fact, Cobb made the move on Ollie, I think, because he was actually behind him. I'm sure he was behind him before. So Cobb has got ahead of... I know he hasn't. He must have done, but it must have been a while ago because Ollie was actually quicker on that last lap. Ollie trying to go around the outside of Cobb here, around the outside of Cascades. He's going to have the inside for the island hairpin, but did he get enough of a run? Did he get enough momentum there? They're still going to be side by side. Cobb on the outside, slightly ahead. Ollie has that inside preferred line in the background. Aussie getting it all wrong, and Aussie always pile driving into the side of Cobb, but Ollie gets it done up into P5 there on Cobb. So nice move there, which he had to set up all the way around the outside of Cascades, which gave him the inside for the island hairpin. Great move from Ollie, as we see the leaders still separated by 2 seconds right now. There's Charlie, who's now got Ollie on the back of him, so Ollie looking to try and pick off another driver here. John Boy still leading, but Mike has got the gap under a second here to John Boy. So Mike continuing to pile the pressure on. Our former Clio Cup champion. Mike, our 3-time champion of the Clio Cup here at Motive. He's won the last 3 seasons. These two starting to gap Jay a little bit. 2.5 seconds now is Jay's deficit to John Boy. Jay was lapping consistently in the 130s in the first race, but right now he's in the low 31s. So if he was, I'll tell you what, if he was on the pace right now that he was on in the first race, he would be closing in on John Boy and Mike at the moment. He does need to put his finger out here for sure, but Ollie nonetheless is looking to the inside of Charlie in towards turn 1. Is he going to have this one done? Ollie's going to make the move down the inside. Charlie powerless to do anything there, has to tuck in. And Ollie there up into 4th place. Great move there from him. Cobb's still right there on the back of these guys as well as we come into Cascades. In the meantime, it's still John Boy leading by half a second right now over Mike. Here come the 2 leaders into his stops once again. And John Boy's just holding Mike at bay at the moment, just keeping him out of arm's reach. Not allowing him to sneak within that all-important range that would allow him to land a knockout blow. So here we come then, 2 leaders coming over the line here to start lap 9, and Mike is continuing to pile the pressure on, and we've seen this so many times over the course of races. John Boy will be leading a race, Mike will be putting him under tremendous pressure, and a lot of times we've seen John Boy crack under the pressure. He usually holds firm until quite late on. Mike, they're looking up the inside into Cascades. John Boy late on the brakes. Mike trying to keep himself there. John Boy will be on the outside of Cascades, but he'll have the inside down towards the island hairpin. Mike is maybe slightly ahead. No, John Boy I think slightly ahead as we come down towards the hairpin. Here we go. Mike goes very late on the brakes, but I think he's going to overshoot it. John Boy should be able to pick him off with ease here on the exit of the corner, and he does so beautifully there. And John Boy's still holding on here ahead of Mike just about, but Mike is continuing to just probe and push and trying to just test the limits here, find out where John Boy's weak, find out where he might be able to get this done. But John Boy giving him absolutely no quarter right now. Jay still running in 3rd place. Now starting to reel these guys in. Now that they're battling, now that they're properly going toe to toe and starting to slow each other down, it's giving Jay a bit of a lifeline here. Only 2 seconds off of the lead, so can Jay bring himself into this battle? Still John Boy and Mike out the front as they're coming through Druids. But there is the potential hunter here in this race. In the meantime, Ollie running in 4th place. It's got a couple of seconds back to Cobb, who's running in P5. Aussie and Charlie running in 6th and 7th. Not much separating those two right now either. Smokey still going in P8. Nick the Villa, race 1 winner, let's not forget, with his damage early in the 2nd race, down in 9th place, nearly a lap down on these two. They were coming into turn 1 to start lap 10. And Jay is now within 2 seconds here, so he's really running him in. And Revolt Detailer's jumped in, so Revolt Detailer will be able to jump in for the final race of the night. Good to see. He's a reserve for the Clio Cup. Does do, I think it's, is it? I'm not going to, it's not Tiddlywinks, is it? He does? No. So, he does something on a Monday night or a Tuesday night sometimes, which means he can't race all the time. But he's jumped in, so it'd be good to see Leo getting out on track for the final race of the night. We should have 12 drivers, I think, for the final race, as long as Totally Zero and Doris Deer's internets hang in there. As John Boy and Mikey coming into Hislops for the 10th time. There's Jay still going in P3. So yeah, 12 drivers turning out. It ain't going to be too bad, I guess. Shame we had a few disconnections over the course of tonight, which prevented us from having that many for the first 2 races of the night. Ollie's still running in 4th place here ahead of Cobb. There's Ozzy, just about a second ahead of Charlie Goff at the moment. As Mike really trying to ramp up the pressure here on John Boy. John Boy defending to the inside, coming into the hairpin. Once again, Mike, I think, is going to overshoot a little bit. John Boy hugging the inside curb. And once again, doing everything right here. Mike, though, got a slightly better exit coming out of the hairpin because it was a wider run. John Boy, though, will be able to defend the inside coming into his stops. Just needs to keep his cool here. He's got the run, he's got that preferred line. Mike trying to go round the outside here, and that's the inside for the second part. And Mike has pulled off an absolute worldy manoeuvre there around the outside of John Boy. John Boy had to be very clean to get in the space, and John Boy will be kicking himself that he wasn't a bit more aggressive there, because Mike has now seized the lead here on lap 11. As we're going to have 3 more laps in the race. We're going to cross over the line to start another lap after, well, it'll be, yeah, 3 more laps it'll be. Oh, it's Mike there a bit wide coming out of Druids, and John Boy now looking all over the back of him here, coming down towards Lodge Corner. He's going to look to the inside. Mike leaves the space there, and John Boy's going to send it down the inside into the Lodge Corner. Bit of a contact there between the two of them, and John Boy there saying, well, if you're going to be aggressive, Mike, so am I. Pushed him a little bit wide. They're still side by side coming down the start-finish straight. Mike has the outside just ahead. John Boy on the inside. Can he get back up the inside for the turn 1? No, he can't. Mike Gaming gets up into the lead, but these two, whilst they've been battling, have now got Jay right on the back of them here coming out of turn 1. So Jay has driven just quietly going about his business, been chipping away, and he's now standing on the verge of potentially fighting it out for the win here in the final 3 laps of this race. As John Boy very wide there coming out of Cascades, and Jay might have a run here coming down towards the island hairpin. He looks to the outside. John Boy's going to have to defend it. Can Jay do John Boy in the same place where Mike did it on the previous lap? As John Boy gets it stopped nicely on the inside there, and Jay can't do anything. John Boy survives in P2 for the time being. But dramatic scenes here as John Boy losing out to Mike. Jay all over the back of John Boy at the moment as well. So this is a 3-man battle for the lead here right now, as John Boy deep coming into his stops. But Jay there unable to capitalise on any little mistakes there from John Boy. And it's still as you were between these 3 at the moment. Mike there cleaning on by the skin of his teeth. But great battle from these guys. Ollie still running in 4th place ahead of Cobb as they're coming into the final sector of this lap so far. But Mike just under a second is his gap right now over John Boy, and Jay's just dropped off a bit off of John Boy a little bit coming to this final sector here. As into the final corner we come once again. Ollie there still running in 4th place, just ahead of Cobb. There's a bit of a gap back to Charlie running in 6th place, and there's Ozzy still going in P7, a little way clear of Smokey in 8th. Ollie's still running in 4th there ahead of Cobb. But the 3 leaders here separated by just about a second. Oh, it's Jay getting it all wrong coming through Cascades. Horribly wrong there from Jay. In the meantime, Cobb has got ahead of Ollie here, so I didn't see how that happened. I'm assuming that Cobb got a better run coming out of Old Hall into Cascades, but he's ahead of him nonetheless. But Jay there is now dropped off of Mike and John Boy by quite a bit, and I think it's going to be between Mike and John Boy for the race win here in his second race of the night. Down towards his stops we come again. Jay now over 2 seconds adrift of these two here. So here we come then, about to start the final lap of the race. Mike and John Boy running absolutely bumper to bumper here, coming out of Lodge Corner. We're going to have one more lap of racing here to decide the second race of the night, as John Boy's got a bit of a run. Mike's going to have to defend to the middle part of the track. John Boy's going to go around the outside. Is he going to be brave here around the outside of Old Hall Corner? Mike Gaming currently holding his ground. John Boy getting a bit of a run, get a slightly better exit coming out of Old Hall. Now looking to the outside. Mike here weaving around a little bit, maybe just trying to confuse John Boy ever so slightly. Into Cascades we go. Mike gets it turned in and gets a good exit out of Cascades. That will have helped him out, because obviously now John Boy can't really go for a move into the island hairpin. John Boy flashing his lights. Mike there keeping his line pretty much innocuous here. Goes a little bit deep coming into the hairpin, but John Boy wasn't ready for a cutback, wasn't really positioned to get a run out of the corner, and Mike here still has the lead just at the moment, coming down towards his stops for the final time here in race 2. John Boy throwing a feint to the inside, trying to put Mike off a little bit onto the brakes. Mike having none of it, not showing any signs of distraction or anything like that. Coming through Knickerbrook now. Jay's coming back at them, but it's too little too late. He's not going to get there. He's 1.7 seconds behind these guys. His race for the win is over. But can John Boy force Mike into a mistake in the final few corners of this final lap? Into the Druids we go. Just one more corner after Druids. That'll be Lodge Corner to finish the race, as Mike didn't get a great run coming out of Druids, but John Boy didn't either particularly, if I'm honest with you. Coming down towards Lodge now. Mike defending. He doesn't really need to. I think he should have this done. A bit of a lock up there from Mike, and John Boy might have a run here. I tell you what, it's the last mistake there from Mike, and John Boy's taking the win. John Boy mugs him right to the end. Mike Gaming having a bit of a hesitation there going through Lodge Corner. John Boy takes the win ahead of Mike in second place. Jay over in third, but wow, he is human after all. A 3-time Clio Cup champion making a very uncharacteristic error there, and John Boy takes the win. Cobb over in fourth ahead of Olio, who takes P5. Charlie comes over to take P6 in the end, ahead of Ozzy Albie, who will come over the line to finish this one in 7th place. Smoky Devil will finish this one in 8th, and Nick the Villa a lap down in 9th place. But a very, very surprising error there from Mike. Threw away the win. Literally said, go on John Boy, have it mate, it's yours. And that is something I've never seen Mike Gaming do, and I don't think we'll ever see him do it again, or at least not for a long time. But that is that then. John Boy, Mike and Jay, your top 3 guys. We'll be back very shortly for the final race of the night with the reverse grid format. Don't go anywhere. Is Leo going to do the last one, Jay? He jumped in, didn't he? And then he, yeah. Because I thought he was going to jump in for the final race, because he is a reserve, isn't he? So that would be too bad then. A 12 driver turnout wouldn't be the most biggest disaster in the world. Mate, I couldn't believe it when Mike made the mistake into the final corner last lap. I couldn't believe my eyes. I was like, how? He never does this. Oh, did you? You put him off? Oh, you bastard. Cheeky. Right, I'm going to give Leo 1 minute. 1 minute to join. Let me just get up the finishing order. Lucky boy. Yeah, man. No. Right. So it'll be 14 laps. Yeah. Oh, I think it's safe to assume that Leo won't be joining us. Yeah, he joined during the second race. Alright, just going to send him one more invite and then we'll go. Nah, I'm in here. Alright. Yeah, it'd be good to have a 12-man grid if we can. Hey, Ozzy, it'd be 1 minute, He's just going to ring him up. He's going to ring him up and say, are you joining? And then if he says yay, then we wait 1 minute. If he says nah, we'll go. It's calm, don't worry. It's fine. It's alright. We'll be finished by 20 past. 20 past we'll be finished. 25 latest. Oh, it's not that late. Think about Mike. It's like bloody 11:30 nearly for him. By the time we finish. Yeah, he has to be up at 5. No, 6, I think. No, 6:30 he gets up. Alright, let's go. Oh shit, grid. Right. Nick, you are indeed on pole position, you are correct. Smokey, Smokey second, Ozzy third, Charlie fourth, Ollie fifth, Cobb sixth, Jay seventh, Mike eighth, John Boy ninth, and then Doris 10th and Totally Zero P11. So it's a formation lap Totally Zero. So P11, just do what everyone else does. Don't pass before the line. Alright, let's go. Yeah, the boys will walk you through it. What? Yeah, I won't. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for the final time tonight at Motive in the Clio Cup for round 2 of an 8-round season here for season 14. Race 6 of a 24 race season here at Oulton Park on the Island circuit. We've got 11 drivers currently in the session here, which is a bit better than what we had for the last 2 sessions, as we had a few disconnections during qualifying, which meant that we didn't have the numbers that we were supposed to have. We're missing a few drivers this week as well, so unfortunately, 11 drivers, not what we wanted, but nonetheless, it's okay. It's not terrible, but yeah, not what we wanted, I'm sure. But yeah, it's a bad week, but these things happen. You know, these things do happen. They are part and parcel of sim racing and organising leagues. But 11 drivers, I'm sure that's going to be enough to see an exciting race, as we just see a little bit of chaos going on here. As we're, we don't want to be seeing any of that, guys. Come on, sort it out. What's going on there? Somebody's just taken out our newcomer to the league, Totally Zero. Welcome along, Totally Zero. Races with us on ACC and has also been raced with us a couple of times on F1 as well. So yeah, welcome to Project Cars 2, buddy, and hopefully you enjoy it on here. Some of the guys on here have been playing this game since 2017, so don't feel disheartened at all if your pace isn't there. I don't know if you played the game before on another account, but yeah, basically if you have, then you'll know what you're doing. If not, it's a learning process, don't worry. Having said that, he's raced on ACC before, so you know he knows how to drive sim racers, so he should be alright. But here we are then, guys, final practice session of the evening. Obviously this one just a practice, no qualifying or anything like that. It's just literally an opportunity for the guys to warm up and get themselves ready for the final race, which will be a reverse grid based on the results from race 2. So we take the results, we tip them on the head, that'll be the order for the start of the race. So that should be exciting, obviously. One thing I remember, Nick Lavilla will be starting on pole. I know that for sure because he was struggling quite a bit in the second race. He ended up with big damage at the end of the first lap and ended up a lap down on the leaders, so he will be starting on pole. Other than that, I've forgotten. So it'll be a nice surprise when we get to the formation lap. We'll see where everyone's starting. But yeah, I think that it should be interesting to watch Nick Lavilla starting on pole, because I tell you what, he won the first race of the night from pole position. So, or not from pole, but he was up the front. He was near the front. Managed to get a bit of a march on everybody else. There was a few collisions on the first lap in behind, and he just managed to escape out the front and did a really good job. So Nick Lavilla is going to be one to watch here from pole position. Should be able to do a very strong job indeed here. Mike currently setting the fastest time in this practice session. Totally Zero reference. Where are we at? We're at 1:37, but that is with damage, so not too bad at all there from him. And obviously, as he practices and gets up to speed, those times will come down. So it's just about practice. That's all it is. And yeah, hopefully we'll be able to see Totally Zero getting quicker and quicker on this Project Cars 2 game. But Mike currently setting the fastest time, obviously. Second in the second race of the night. John Boy taking points off of his rival in the second race, with Mike making that mistake going into the final corner, which I've heard rumours might have been because Jay was shouting out "send it" in the chat very loudly, and apparently it put him off, caused him to make a mistake going into the final corner, which gave John Boy the win. But yeah, it should be an exciting final race of the night, with obviously John Boy and Mike coming from the back. How quickly are those guys going to be able to carve their way through? And Jay as well will be carving his way through from the back. Can't remember where Ollie's starting. If he's up near the front, he could potentially be a bit of a factor here. Maybe try and get away early on. Not sure where Charlie's starting as well. If Charlie's up there, we know what Charlie's like when he's given when he's given an opportunity to start at the front. He often does not look back. But that is the practice session done then. So the drivers who are on laps can finish their laps. Let's see what Totally Zero K can do here, because tonight's his debut here on Project Cars 2 at Motive. Never seen him race in a Project Cars 2 league race before. He comes over and improves to a 1:36 with big damage as well, which I reckon is probably costing him a couple of seconds a lap there. So 3 seconds off for the pace. You know, probably when you look at it objectively, that's not bad at all, really. For his first race, I've got to say, that's very solid indeed. But that's that then for this final practice session. Jay goes into third place. And that is that then for this practice. So Mike, John Boy, Jay and Ollie, your top four, front 2 rows here for this final race of the night. Obviously not the actual, that won't be the grid order, but that is the final order for this practice session. But yeah, let's go guys, let's get this final race of the night underway. Here we are then, ladies and gentlemen. We are moments away from the start of the final race of the night here for the Clio Cup Automotive here on Project Cars 2 for round 2 of 8 for season 14. We've got Nick the Villa just leading us around Druids here. He'll be the driver to get us underway here as to come out of the final corner, Lodge corner. You've got Smokey Devil in second place. Could be an opportunity for him to get some really good points on the board here. Ozzy and Charlie Goff with Ollie in 5th. Ahead of Cobble Start in P6, Jay in 7th with Mike and John Boy in 8th and 9th places, and Doris Steer will line up at the back ahead of Totally Zero. But it looks like we're racing here as we come over the line. So Nick Liver's got us underway. We've got a move here being shaped up in the background. Ollie looking to the inside of Charlie Goff, coming into turn 1, and Ollie's going to make the move down the inside. A beautiful move there from Molly Margos, a little bit deep into the corner, but he gets it done. Absolutely fantastic stuff there from him as we see in the background there. We've got somebody spinning out as that was Doris Deer, was it there? Or was it Tony Zero? Or who was it? I don't know. There's somebody's gone horribly wrong there. It was actually Jay who had that spin. So Jay's down to the back of the pack in 11th place. Nick the Villa leads ahead of Smokey Devil, followed by Ozzy Albie. There's Ollie ahead of Cobb, followed by Charlie, with Mike well behind. So there's a big split in the pack here, which I think was caused maybe by Jay's spin. Potentially it was a bit of a knock-on effect there, but Mike, John Boy, Doris Steer with Totally Zero and Jay just behind them as well. So not the best of start for these 5 guys here, running between 7th and 11th places, as John Boy's all over the back of Mike, coming down towards his stops, but too far back just there. There's Doris, there's Totally Zero, and there's Jay running in the last place here on this opening lap. But Nick the Villa leads ahead of Smokey Devil, and Nick the Villa won the first race of the night here, and could he be able to make it 2 wins out of 3 here tonight at Oulton Park Island? What a night that would be for him if he's able to do that. He's got Cobb running in P5. Ollie could be a factor as well, to be fair. Smokey and Ozzy also more than capable of taking race victories. Charlie Goff running 2 seconds behind this pack of 5 cars right now, battling over the lead as we're coming out of Lodge corner here, about to complete the first racing lap, lap 2 of the race. As here we come. They're all just tucking in behind each other for the time being. There's Charlie Goff running in P6. You've got Mike just ahead of John Boy. John Boy making a move down the inside of Mike into turn 1. Beautifully done there from him. As Jay's made the move on Totally Zero up into 10th place. So nice move there from him. And Ollie there moving through up into the final podium place there ahead of Ozzy. So Ozzy losing a couple of places there. Smokey really attacking on the back of Nick the Villa right now. Can Smokey Devil get a win? Oh no, Smokey's gone very wide there coming out of the hairpin. Loses out there to Ollie. Ollie moving through up into P2. Cobb and Ozzy almost side by side here as they're coming down towards Hislops. Cobb here looking down the inside. Ozzy onto the grass there on the outside, and he spins it round, and Ozzy takes a braking marker there with him as well, and he's going to lose out, I think, to John Boy and Mike, who are going to move through, and Ozzy Albie struggling here. Takes to the escape road there. Quite a sensible move that. Doesn't want to lose even more time than he already is, and rejoins just in front of that battle. Oh, and Jay just tags Doris in the rear there, coming through Knickerbrook, and Doris round and down to P11. Jay continues on his way. I think they were both distracted by Ozzy rejoining the track, and that caused Jay to just pirouette into the back air of Doris there. And Doris has lost out hugely because of that. But that promotes Totally Zero up into P10. Nick the Villa leads the race coming over the line, or coming into turn 1 to start lap 4. So it's Nick the Villa from Ollie, from Smokey, and Cobb there running in 4th place, just almost a second behind them at the moment. There's Charlie running in 5th. Bit of a gap back to John Boy and Mike. Ozzy and Jay there running in 8th and 9th, coming through Cascades. Bit of a slide there from Jay, getting a bit of a lock up there. Totally Zero K still running there in P10. Doing an okay job in his first ever race on Project Cars 2 here at Motive. Back to the leaders here. Nick the Villa, Ollie, separated by 0.4 of a second into Hislops. But Ollie still can't apply the pressure enough to force Nick into any kind of mistake at the moment. But Ollie's got to be a strong chance of a win here in this final race of the night, being right on the back of Nick like he is. Nick, though, we saw weathering the storm off of Cobb in the first race, managing to hold on to the pressure and not falter, not get overcome by the situation at all. and doing a similar job here. Although having said that, Ollie's got a bit of a run here coming now towards Lodge Corner, and Ollie's going to make the move here. Down the inside he goes. And Ollie Marr up into the lead of the race here on lap 4. So coming over the line here to finish lap 4 onto lap 5. Ollie Marr, your new race leader. Nick Livilla back into the slipstream, trying to come back at him into Old Hall Corner, but Ollie's got that done there. So Ollie Marr leads here on lap 5 of the race. Can he now pull away, or is Nick going to make it hard for him here in this race? Cobb still hasn't managed to clear Smokey. So Cobb will be desperate to clear these guys because he'll be probably feeling the risk of Ollie breaking away. But Ollie, to be fair, struggling to pull away here from Nick. Nick's back in the slipstream here. Ollie defending the inside. Oh, and in the background there, Smokey and Cobb have a collision. Cobb into the wall. Smokey there, I think, got away without too much damage. Cobb has got damage. Quite a fair bit of damage there on the left side of that car. Smokey seems to have got away relatively scot-free there. Nick and Ollie are side by side coming down towards Hislops here. So Ollie late on the brakes on the inside and holds on to P1 at the moment. So Ollie's still leading ahead of Nick. There's Smokey ahead of Charlie, who's now in 4th place. John Boy and Mike, these two can't get enough of each other here tonight. They have been tied at the hip for the entirety of all 3 races here tonight. Running in P5 and 6, both of them starting at the back here in this final race of the night. Currently 5 seconds off for your race leader Riley, who's trying to now build a gap to Nick Livilla. Nick Livilla, massive slide there coming through Druids onto the grass and loses over a second there. Ollie continuing to pull away out the front. So Ollie's still leading by just under 2 seconds ahead of Nick Livilla. There's Smokey ahead of Charlie, ahead of John Boy, with Mike on the back of these guys there. You can see there, 3 of them separated by about half a second right now. It's John Boy trying to get a bit of a run here coming down towards Cascades, but just has to tuck in for the time being. It's Mike almost tagging John Boy in the rear there. The foreground, Nick Livilla not getting a great run there, coming out of Cascades into the Iron Hairpin. They goes a bit deep there. There's Nick Livilla. Smokey trying to get a cut back here, but can't do it. John Boy and Charlie side by side here, coming down towards Hislops. John Boy has the inside. Charlie trying to go around the outside of John Boy here. John Boy has that inside covered off there ahead of Charlie. Mike just waiting in the wings behind these guys at the moment. But Nick and Smokey still batting over 2nd and 3rd places right now. As Nick and Smokey, they're going through Druids. There are the other guys battling behind them. Nick very wide. Oh, and Charlie ever so wide there as well. Mike's now going to look to the inside of Charlie coming into Lodge Corner. And Mike moves through up into P5. But these guys, while they're battling, they're losing time to Ollie, who's continuing to put out that gap out of front. John Boy and Mike now getting ever closer to this battle for the podium places here between Nick and Smokey as we come down towards Cascades once again. And Smokey's now coming under pressure from John Boy. John Boy looking to try and make the move here into Cascades. John Boy down the inside, gets it done there ahead of Smokey up into 3rd place. Now Mike's going to look to the outside. He'll have the inside for the Island Hairpin here. And Mike's going to get ahead of Smokey as well. So Smokey losing 2 positions there. John Boy and Mike moving through, continuing to cut their way through this field. They're only 3.5 seconds now behind your race leader Ollie. So Ollie will be watching their progress on the timing screen and probably thinking to himself, I need to start picking up the pace just a little bit here. He'll be hoping that Nick can hold John Boy up as much as possible. As I'm seeing there, that is Thoris Steer getting it wrong coming out of Cascades. Saw that on my, basically on the other side of the track. You could see across the track there. As in the background there, somebody's wide. Oh, Smokey's lost it. Completely binned it there on the exit of Druids. He's got damage on the car as well there, Smokey. He's dropped from 2nd down to 6th. John Boy looked like he made the move on Nick there, but he's actually gone wide coming out of Lodge. And he might lose out to Mike here. So Mike looking down the inside of John Boy coming down towards Old Hall Corner. John Boy might have a bit of a run. He might be able to hold it there on the outside. Yes, he does. So John Boy's still in third place at the moment. As they come out of Old Hall, John Boy's going to have to defend here from Mike, as Mike is almost underneath him here as they come down towards Cascades. And John Boy just staying ahead of Mike at the moment. By the skin of his teeth there. Ollie still leads the race. 2.5 seconds is his gap to these three. Nick, John Boy and Mike. Ollie in the lower 32s last time around. He needs to pick up the pace a little bit here. John Boy a bit wide coming out of the hairpin. Mike's still right on the back of him here. Charlie Goff in P5 not really matching these guys, it has to be said. Smokey and Jay battling over P6 as Jay trying to get a run here coming out of the hairpin. But I think he's just a little bit too far back just at the moment, Jay, to make a move into his stops. He's going to have a look up the inside here, is Jay. Oh, I tell you what, he's thinking about it. Smokey goes a little bit deep into the corner, and Jay's going to pick him off there with ease in the second part. Jay moves through up into P6. Easy pickings there for Jay. Gets it done beautifully. Ollie still leading. Nick, John Boy and Mike still battling over second place right now. That's John Boy a bit wide there coming out of Cascades, and Mike there swoops through up into third. So Mike there capitalising on John Boy going a bit wide onto the curb, and Mike there moves through now onto the back of Nick the Villa here as both of them go a bit wide there coming through the island hairpin. Mike a bit wide. Can John Boy get a run? No, Mike gets a good enough exit there out of the island hairpin. Will be able to keep ahead of John Boy with ease into his stops. But these guys battling, and it's just allowing Ollie now to stretch his legs once again here. Now lapping in the mid 31s, that might be enough to fend off the charge of these guys behind him. Be great to see Ollie take a win here in the Clio Cup. It's been a while since we've seen him take a win. Took a lengthy absence from Moto, to be fair. Raced with us in the early seasons back in 2020 during COVID, and has recently got his rig installed at his uni, so he's been back racing for the last sort of few weeks, and currently out in front, controlling the race at the moment as we've got 5 laps left to go here. You can see that Nick and Mike side by side here coming over the line to start lap 10. As Mike looking around the outside, Nick has the inside, Mike's going to go all the way around him here, and that is a superb move there from Mike. Managed to find the grip there on the outside, had the bravery to commit himself to do it. And yeah, into P2 goes Mike. But Ollie's still your leader right now by just over 3 seconds to Mike. There's Nick, there's John Boy. Charlie Goff a couple of seconds behind them in P5 at the moment. John Boy absolutely hassling the back of Nick the Villa here as we come into the final sector. Into Druids we go. John Boy's been with Mike for the duration of this race. Mike now ahead of Nick and potentially threatening to run away from John Boy if John Boy doesn't get ahead of Nick soon. John Boy looking to the inside, Nick covering him off. John Boy thinks better of going up the inside there. Could have been a risky manoeuvre there onto the grass potentially if he had committed himself to that one. And still as you were between these guys running in second, third and fourth places right now. But Ollie's still leading by just about 3 seconds at the moment over Mike. Oh, John Boy, a bit of a slide there coming through Cascades. But holds on to it just about. John Boy there, really aggressive there on the exit of Hislop's. Looking to the outside here. He's got a run actually on Nick. They're going to be side by side. I think he's going to be able to make the space work. Nick trying to keep himself there, but John Boy's going to get that done going into Druids. Nick could be a fool to send it up the inside there. And John Boy there moves himself through into the final podium place. But he's a second adrift of Mike now. Can he reel Mike in and nab second here at the end? The question is though, with 3 laps left to go, can Mike claw back a 3-second deficit to Ollie? Ollie's now lapping in the low 131s. High 130s there that last time around from Ollie. So Ollie picking up the pace at the right moment here. He's got the lead. He's got the gap. Can he hold on to it? Or is Mike going to reel him in the final few laps of this race? Ollie Marr standing on the verge of taking his first win of the season here for season 14. And there's Mike in second. John Boy and Nick Lavilla coming through Cascades. But Ollie here could be in with a shout of taking his first win in probably about 3 years here at Motive. I think he took a couple of wins in Tier 2 when he was back from, I think back when he was at school still, must have been, when he was back from school. I think he took a couple of wins in Tier 2, but his last win in a Tier 1 race must be about 3 years ago. So yeah, big moments here for Ollie Marr. Can he bring it home? Mike's still running in P2. He's got just over a second right now to John Boy. Nick Lavilla's still keeping tabs with these guys. Still in with a shout of a podium at the moment. Oh, it's Mike very wide there going out of Druids onto the grass. Can John Boy close in here coming into Lodge Corner? He's too far away still at the moment. As Ollie comes over, he's about to start the penultimate lap of this race. Still with the gap to Mike and John Boy. Mike and John Boy a bit wide there going out of Cascades, both onto the grass a little bit. Nick Liver's still too far back. I think he's out of the battle between these two. Might bit of a lock up there coming into the island hairpin. John Boy still can't make anything happen here. But he is closer to the back of Mike than he has been. And Ollie's picked up the pace in the last few laps. He's keeping the gap now at around 3 seconds. Just under 3 seconds it goes. Mike's gained a little bit on him on this lap so far, but it's not going to be enough at the rate he's gaining. Not anywhere near enough. Ollie should have at least a 2 second gap by the time he gets to the end of the race, as things stand, as things are going right now. And it's been a very quick lap here from Ollie Marr so far. Mike, John Boy, Nick there going through Druids here for the penultimate time, and Nick the middle wide. Oh, and John Boy's wide as well. John Boy onto the grass. So both of them making mistakes at the same corner there. Nick the Villa probably using John Boy's reference, using John Boy's braking as a reference there. And both of them wide, but they're well clear of Charlie Goff, so they'll be okay for 3rd and 4th places here. Ollie starts the final lap with a 2.7 second gap over Mike. Mike 4/10 quicker than Ollie. That's not going to get him even close to the back of Ollie before we get to the end of this race. Aussie in the meantime is closing up onto the back of Smokey here in the battle for 7th and 8th places. That could be one to watch here on his final lap. Ollie just over 2 seconds the gap to Mike. Mike continuing to reel him in, but he's not going to get there in time. John Boy wide coming out of Cascades. He's well clear of Nick. Nick's not anywhere near him here. Nick's only a couple of seconds here of Charlie, but should be okay as long as he doesn't make any more mistakes. Jay there running in P6 at the moment. Smokey Devil and Aussie here battling over 7th and 8th places as they're coming down towards Cascades once again here. Smokey defending the inside, and Aussie's lost it. He's got round. Aussie there tagging the grass, coming through Cascades, and that's pretty much put a nail, I think, in his chances of finishing in P7 in this race. Aussie, what a shame there. Losing time to Smokey in the process. Nick still with Charlie on the back of him. But let's flick to the race leader Ollie, because he's coming into the final corner. And what a drive it's been from Ollie Marr here tonight in the Clio Cup. He's going to take his first win in many, many years here at Motive Racing. Up towards the line, a flash of the lights from him. He wins race 3 here at Oulton Park Island. Might take second place ahead of John Boy, who will complete the podium. And John Boy is slowing down over the line. I'm not quite sure what he's doing there. But John Boy third, and Nick Livilla fourth. Oh, right, they just wanted to do a bit of a bumper cars over the line. John Boy there keeping ahead of those two, but Nick Livilla fourth, Charlie Goffin P5. Jay over the line to take P6 in the end. Top 6 well clear of everybody else, to tell you that. Smoky Devil coming out of Lodge Corner. It's going to be a P7 for him, as he's going to come across the line. He's a little way clear of Aussie Albie, who will come over to take P8 here in this final race of the night. And then behind him, Totally Zero. Good debut from him. 133s, 132s by the end of the race. Wow! Totally Zero has got some good pace here. I tell you what, I mean that's not far off the leader's pace. It's about a second and a half off of the ultimate pace. A second and a half, 2 seconds off the ultimate pace. That's bloody quick. So well done to Totally Zero there. Cobb took P10 ahead of Doris Steer in 11th place, and that is that tonight, guys. So Ollie, Mike and John Boy taking your podium places. Massive congratulations to Ollie on taking the win in the final race of the night. Fastest lap of the race goes to John Boy. Totally Zero, what was his fastest lap in the end? Of 32.4. So yeah, 2 seconds off of the pace, not bad for your first outing. That, I'll tell you what, that's quick, you know, for your first attempt in the Clios. But yeah, well done to Ollie on taking the win. Congratulations to John Boy on taking the win in the second race, and Nick Livilla for taking the win in the first race. Guys, we're going to get off now. Thanks everybody once again. We'll see you in the next one. Join us tomorrow night on ACC if you want to join us for the GT3 Sprint League on the PS5. That will be live at 8 PM UK time. If you can't join us for then join us for the touring cars, which will be live at the same time as always on Thursday night, 8:30 PM UK time. And we'll be at Oulton Park, as we are for most of the races this season. We're running the same tracks for Clios and touring cars, but we'll be on the International, I think. It's either the International or potentially the Fosters. I can't remember, but we're at Oulton Park, I know that. We're staying at Oulton Park for the touring cars. Friday night we'll be back on for the F1 League, which will be live at the usual time of 6:40. And I'll also have a new commentator on something for that one, because Max won't be around. Sunday night we'll be live for the GT3 Championship and ACC, as always, at 7 PM for both Tiers 2 and Tier 1. And I'm back on for the Tuesday night for Clio's this time next week. So yeah, thanks everybody once again. I'm shattered. I'm going to call it a night. Thanks everybody, and yeah, see you later.